Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you, and let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up that screen. Ilus. Ilus was running this morning. It's still up pretty good. Not as much as it was about an hour ago. Good grief, it was running this morning. I think some people are kind of getting ahead of themselves, but that's okay. It's understandable. They're kind of revving their engines. But let's get into Ilus, see what's going on with it today. All right, as you can see, it's up at 16 cents. It's up about 5%. It was up 15%. It hit 18, and it hit this resistance right here, and it kind of bounced off of it. It doesn't show it because it was intraday, but it bounced right off there and came back down just a little bit. Like I said, it's still up. But I think what's happening, people are getting ahead of themselves just a little bit because there's a lot of information coming out, we believe, this week, and maybe even that European deal. We'll see about that. But let's look at what's going on Twitter. All right, we know back on the 28th, they were talking about their share structure update, and we're waiting on that, and that's coming this week, and their 2021 filings, which would be end of the year. So that's also going to be very helpful, and people are probably getting a little excited about that. And then further updates, and this is important, further updates and or information will be provided on the EU first phase and shareholder Q&A and first quarter progress. So all of that's got people charged up, and they're getting antsy. And actually, I believe that was today. Let's see, Vera Drone, sales director. They're at the Amsterdam Drone Week for meetings with potential customers and certification authorities. And we know they are in pre-talks about a possible pre-order of a very large order of Vera drones, which would be fantastic. That would really pop the stock. But, we'll see. That's, pre-talk. And very quickly, I'll just go over this. The big thing we're waiting on, besides what we just talked about, the share reduction, they're trying to get close to 1 billion shares, is this big European deal. I think that's how they're going to do one of their spinoffs to go to the NASDAQ. And we've talked about that quite a bit, and I think we're all just kind of impatiently waiting. And like I said, Nick Link has already been over to Europe, and he's been working hard on that European deal, and he's told us that. And JP Backwell is working on other large deals as well. Part of these 10 possible acquisitions and a 9-figure acquisition they're working on in the United States. And they're looking to uplist through a spinoff, it would appear, sometime between 3 to 6 months, according to JP Backwell, the gentleman I had on the thumbnail, with no reverse split. That's very important, no reverse split. We know the preferred and restricted shares they have, which I'm going to show you that in just a minute, being used in acquisitions. That's very normal. And they do have restrictions on those, so it's not like they're just going to pop up. And we've talked a lot about the water mist technology, the discussions with Tesla, and of course I just discussed the Vera drones. And some of y'all may get a little sick of me always bringing this up, but I thought this was so important. April 5th, of course, Nick talking about holding all the preferred shares, A, D, and E, and saying we have not sold a share and do not have plans to sell any, and that our interests are mutually aligned. So that to me is very important, and keeps you from having, that fear of a rug pull type of feel. I don't know if that's the right word for it. That's typically in crypto. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And one thing I never have talked to you about my history. And of course, back in the 80s, of course, I was in a hair band. And I also did some hair modeling. I've actually got a photo of that might interest you. Yeah, this was me when I was back in my hair. That's Mr. Frugal in the hair band back in the 80s. And then, of course, this is when I did this for a few years just to make money on the side. So that worked out, pretty good. But really, the big miss that I had back in my early days, this was like when I was really young. I had the opportunity to be a really big band, and they wound up going with another guy, some guy named Phil or Paul, I don't know. Wasn't a good decision on their part. They had some success, but they'd have been a lot bigger had they had me in their band. And we got so far as where we were actually doing photo shoots for the album covers, and I actually have one right here. Yeah, and that's me right here, Mr. Frugal. I almost got in this band, but like I said, some English guy from Bill or Paul, I don't remember his name. And they had some success, but like I said, had I been in there, there's no telling what would have happened. They could have probably been huge. All right, folks, and that's Ilus today. Just a real brief update. Like I said, I just thought it was interesting. The thing ran up 15% today. Like I said, I think people are getting pretty antsy. And I know y'all are disappointed I wasn't in that band. And you'd probably all known what band had I been in it, but it's pretty obscure now. But anyway, that's we're just talking about Ilus a little bit. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover Ilus. And if you haven't subscribed,
Go ahead and subscribe. I need it since I missed out on that big band opportunity. Cost me a lot of money. But anyway, we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.